Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to my humble channel. My name is Vicky, and I would love to introduce my guest for today, which is my lovely friend and sister of the stars, Mylene. Thank you so much, my dear, for joining me and giving me this time to learn more about you.
Thank you, Vicky, to ask me to be here with you on your beautiful iVibe channel. I'm very humbled to be here.
Thank you, darling. Well, let's start. I know you have a beautiful channel, which I can put on the link below, of your experiences with the beautiful star nations, galactic family, and we're in these groups set in which we're discovering a lot about ourselves in that manner. And I thought it would be great to follow up from a last interview with someone else that I know dearly that has experiences that are coming forth now, and it's coming forth in many ways right now, especially during these times. So I thought it would be great to have people that that can share them openly and encourage others to start talking about these beautiful experiences that before we were told they were, not real or fantasies, etc. So, with that said, I'd like to touch upon your earlier years because I know you've been speaking in your channel and other interviews about um, this time in your life and the memories that you're gathering. But to put these two and bridge them together, I thought it would be great to for us to learn about Milena as a child, as a teenager, adult, and how eventually you went from going through that journey to this time. So with that said, if you can kindly talk about your childhood and where you came from, your a little bit about your parents, and how did you start getting to this intuition, I guess, or insights about that was more than just what we see.
Okay, so I'm in Canada, in the province of Quebec. I'm the alone. An alone child. I'm the lonely child of
Oh,
the the only child of my parents. They were 33 and 34 when they had me. They were married for 12 years when I finally popped up because it was very difficult for them to conceive a baby. They had My mother had a first pregnancy before me, but she lost the baby. Then, when she got pregnant from me, she bled for 4 months. So she had to stay in bed to keep me inside. So I grabbed myself in and
for dear
I
life.
yes, I was staying there. So 4 months of really bleeding, clear blood, fluid
Wow.
blood. So it was very, very difficult. And the birth was also very long and difficult for her. The doctor said to her that she will never have, she better never have another children because her body would not do it.
Mhm.
So yes, and I was living in the countryside, always surrounded by farms and animals and fields and all of my family because my childhood house was in the middle of both families. So around 1 mile on one side was the my family, my mother's family place,
Mhm.
and 1 mile on the other side was my father's family. So surrounded by all these families all my childhood, but not as much close to them. I was very a lonely child. I was trying to play alone, and because my parents were very busy, and I was I was using my imagination a lot and trying to grab some attention once in a while and playing with my parents. Mostly with my father because my mother was studying. She returned to school when I began school. But before that, I was. she was busy with all the house stuff, so I was more annoying her, I would say. So that's the feeling I
That's the
had at,
impression you had.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So at 3 years old, I don't remember much of my childhood, but I remember some little spots here and there. So at 3 years old, I remember dancing with the wind,
Mm.
and it was, it
Wow.
was, yes, I was seeing and hearing things that made me dance with the wind, and I was also able to heal with my hands at
Mm.
that young age. When my mother had some aches or pain somewhere, she would bring me and put
Mm.
my hands on the place where she had the pain, and the pain was gone.
Wow.
But she realized quickly that the pain was just transferred to me
Oh,
because I was unable to just heal and put that pain
you didn't
transmuted. And
you
yeah,
didn't know then yet how to maneuver the.
yes, I had that ability, but I didn't know how to manage it at that point. So that was for my younger ages. I would continue at 3 years old. My grandmother died, and that grandmother was very special. We
Mm.
had a special bond, even though I was just three. There was a special bond, and my mother took me to the my grandmother's place, and we didn't know it was the last day before our transition.
Oh, wow.
So at that moment, as a child, I was moving a lot. My mother told me that I could have walked on the ceiling, that type of active child. So when we arrived at my grandmother's place, I just sit on her limb and stay there for half a day.
Mm.
Very quiet. So I knew intuitively that something was going on. And my mother asked my grandmother, "Are you okay? Do you want me to remove her from there?" And she was, "No, no, let her there, let her there." And I know that something happened there.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a transmission or something, but clearly we had that bound and that intuition, both of us, of something irrational, something out of this world,
Mhm.
because there was there was clearly something happening at that moment. Maybe she knew that I was the last of that
General
genealogy
generation.
lineage.
Yeah.
Yes, and maybe she knew that I was the warrior that would just bring an end to that shitty lineage,
I know what you mean. Wow.
because she
Did
had
she transition that same day, Mylene?
transitioned. I think it was during the night.
Wow. So you already were kind of intuitively knowing
Yes,
that that was the case. So you were probably helping her transition. I mean, just the
yes,
thought.
and I know. Yes, you got it right, because I knew with time that was also one of my ability to help people transition and the soul transitioning. And I can say many things about that, knowing, hearing things before someone is transitioning, and talking to them and bringing them to the light and bringing them to on their path to transition. It arrived me, sometime, a few times, yes. So that's, yes, something I have in my back,
In your
my
arsenal.
my backpack.
That's wonderful. So you would say then that you had this keen, obviously many do have the ability to see beyond the physicality of the being, but more as well the spiritual side of our beings and how
Now,
they, yeah.
I don't know if I I don't remember if I was seeing something special as a child, because that was just normal for me. But I don't know. That's more. I really think that's more intuitively and more like an empath thing. You feel it, the feeling, that ethereal thing that you maybe not see, but it's inside, So
Absolutely.
that was a very big bond with my grandmother, which I keep very deep in my heart. She's always with me. It's very emotional talking about her all the time. That's something that just stay there. I don't know why. I will probably manage it all and find it eventually, but for the moment I can't put the finger on what was that, but I know that the bond was very, very solid.
Absolutely.
So after that, at 4 years old, my cousin and godfather died in a train accident.
Oh,
So it was another death, you know, and there were many in my younger age. Grandfather at 6, and many others with the years. I've lost another cousin. It was a girl. She had 33 years old. So everything. Under my 20, I lost two cousins, um, all my grandparents,
mhm.
and many, many people. So that was something usual in my life. That's not funny. That was kind of usual in my life.
You're introduced to that very early on age. Yeah. The transition of people.
Yes, that happened very in a young age. All these transitioning, and for my cousin, it was a little traumatic because he got hit by a train because he was stuck on the railroad with his truck
Oh,
in
wow.
a big winter storm. So he was seeing nothing. And
Wow.
when he just stepped out of the truck, the train arrived and cut his head
Oh my God.
between the door and the truck cabin, and they put it in a coffin, to see him. So they just put makeup and filling on one side, and on the other side it was not very beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
But I
Wow.
was 4 and I wanted to see it. I
Wow.
was curious and I wanted to see. I wanted to see. So they took me up to see. So I I have that vivid vision, So, but it was not traumatic. That didn't kept I didn't kept that image as a trauma, but as an information, as
Mhm.
something, because I'm really, really drawn to biology, to genetics, and all that science. And so I was very curious to see. So that's who I am, a curious being in all,
Well,
in all the
curiosity
ways.
killed the cat. No, I'm just kidding. There's a saying in the US here.
So I would go on with my school years. I was a really tall and builded being. I was a tall girl and really good at school. Really, really good. Enough that I didn't make my second grade. I went from the first to the third. I went in second grade, okay? But when you finish your homeworks and all the exercise and the books, you had two boxes at the front of the class
Mhm.
for the year. For all the year, there were activities when you have time on your own and don't know what to do, and you're finished with all. And after 2 weeks of school, I had three-quarter of one box finished. So they said, "Oh, she will be annoying, and someday she will be, she will turn her thumbs around and don't know what to do." So they had a meeting with the direction, with the teachers, with my parents, and they brought the end of the year exams. I made it. I had beautiful scores. So they sent me in third grade after 2 weeks of second grade. So I was again in the tallest. one of the third grade, even though I was 1 year younger.
Uh-huh.
And so when I arrived in the third grade, I made my 2 first weeks while I was doing my third grade, you know?
Wow, that's awesome.
So yes.
Accelerated the process.
So I've always been really tall from in comparison to the others, and really good at school. I was eating school, you know. I was so curious and wanted to know more. Give me more, you know. And one thing I remember in my first grade, I was knowing when we had some exercise, you know, when the teacher gives you phrases and sentences to write down. They tell the words and you have to write.
They
I
do.
don't know, in French is dicté, but in English.
Katie. Yeah, I gotcha.
So I knew the words before the the teacher was saying them. You know, I don't know if I was tapping in her telepathic communication, or if I don't know, if I was reading backwards or sheets. I don't know what, but I knew what to write before she say the words. So that's something I remember yesterday when I was thinking about today's.
A question came, and
Yes.
do
Nope.
you suffer, or I mean, because a lot of us in the community have dyslexia. Do you have any dyslexia or anything like that that you know of, like inverting numbers and just
No, but
curious, just
now,
curious.
yes,
Huh?
with the aging, I have some trouble now,
Already?
but I had not previously. You know, it's like my brain is is turning into jelly. Sometimes I don't have very any problem with numbers, but with words. I can put one sentence in one word, or I have a beautiful sentence, and when I come to tell it, it's bleh, that
It
goes
doesn't
just
come.
nothing. But and even though it's in French or in English, that's not
Yeah, I
the
think
problem
there's
is not the language, it's my
no, I
end.
think there's something more to it. I mean, obviously, in many things we label things like something is negative, but I think there's more to it. But I just thought I was curious to ask you if you had any issues, because I've noticed some people do. But there's, not that they're not smart or anything like that. It's just that there's something in
I
that
think
that I would like to
I
look
think
into.
I really think I have ADHD, but that was helping my brain go fast, and it was just helping me at school. Some are not helped at all, but for myself, I think it was helping. With time, it was more difficult at school because I had to read and reread and write down things to assimilate them, to learn them.
Mm.
But in the my younger years, it was so easy. It was nothing, you know. So yeah. So after I went to private school in high school. It was a private school. My parents didn't have much money, but I asked them to go there because it was um, um, I thought it was better to receive that teaching, that education, that type of values, and you know,
Mhm.
so they so that's not the point to be higher than other. It was just the
Way of getting information and education.
yeah,
So they,
yes,
yeah.
it was like that. And I was in high school. I was not that I've always been the the one that was no,
Bullied?
she's
A little
I was
bullied?
very shy. I was very shy,
Mhm.
tall, well, robustly built, not really fat, but I was like taller and bigger than everyone.
Long.
So,
Yeah.
and I was good at school, wearing glasses. So I had everything for me.
When you say that, do you mean that people were picking on you? Or
They were very, very bad. They were very, it
oh,
was very tough. Even at the younger school and in high school, it was the same. They were laughing at me. They were putting me aside, rejecting me. That
yeah.
you know.
Here we label it as bullied, and unfortunately that happens. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. That was very, very sad. And
Mm.
in high school, I tried to to go under the floor, to be unseen
Physical.
and, yeah, invisible. I tried, but they always saw me. So, bah.
Those are
But
lower vibrational. Unfortunately,
yeah,
they're lower vibrational beings that when they see something that's more, unconsciously light in light, and they
yes, light brings bugs.
that's a good one. That was a good
Light
one.
and light
That's a
bugs
very good one.
also.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very good. Very well said.
So I would go on with what happened later in the college school. I went in my specification. It was food quality and processing technology.
Mm.
So I studied. Yes, I studied like in that field, and I worked 10 years in a dairy plant or dairy manufacturer
Wow.
as a lab technician and a lab team manager. And after it was quality manager for all the plant. And I was doing the three jobs. So the lab technician, lab and the team lab manager, and the quality manager of the plant, three at a time. And yes, so that was from 2003 to 2013 almost. In 2002, I will just go back when in my college year.
Mm-hmm.
I was working in the summer in some food plants. And I met a boy that became the father of my son. But with time, I realized he was very violent. He was
Mm.
aggressive. He was a woman and children beater, you
Wow.
know. So yes, and it was very difficult. I went through a lot of stuff, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a
Mm.
lot of pain. And I, at a point, I went out of my body not to feel that pain. So, yes.
Wow. That was your
And
kind of like dark night of the soul, maybe. That was a time of your life where you probably
that was one of them. Yeah, because I had plenty.
I hear you. Yeah.
Yes,
It wasn't
raise a
just one
hand.
night. Not one night. It was several nights, right?
It's just not one night. Sometimes, yeah. So I will not stay on that black part of my life, but just know that I was working. I was living in that violent
Fear-based.
environment, fear based. Yes, I had to report every night. Okay, I will have overtime. I will come in and always report and always feel the stress of what would I have do wrong, what I wouldn't do, what oh yeah, that was really really stressful. And in 2009, I began a certificate in a university while working, taking care of my son, taking care of my house.
Wow.
So I had a certificate in food and science technology. I made it between 2009 and 2011. In 2010, I get rid of that boy, you know, with I gathered all my strength from 2009 to 2010. I regained my femininity. I regained my power, my sovereignty. I gathered some friends because I had no more friends, no more family. My parents were there, but they didn't know anything about all that situation, you know? So I made some friends at my work. I I've gathered all my strength because I was destroyed, you know? I was nothing. I was is thing and nothing else other. So I regained my power. Then one day in 2010, he arrived and made a scene, you know, it was awful. And I said to him, just go out.
Wow.
That's my house. I bought this house alone. So he had nothing in it. So just take your things and go out. So I called my parents. They came at the house and to protect myself because he had the keys. So we gathered stuff, important papers, and some clothes for a few days. I took my son. He bring a backpack with all his favorite uh, playing games or his favorite things. And I, my son didn't realize what was happening, and I'm happy about it, you know. So it was just a funny game. Oh yeah, we go to sleep at the grandparents' place. Yay! So put your pajama on and bring some playing things and just we're going. Yay!
A road trip. Oh
Yay!
gosh.
On a Wednesday night. Yay! What a party! So I gathered thing, and my parents and I had the same car, you know, the same color, the same type, very similar. And my house was like 130 feet from the road, and the river was on the other side, on the side of the road, you know. So I had 130 feet to go to the road. So I went first when we go to my grandparents' place. No, my parents' place. Sorry. So I went first, and my parents just followed me. But probably the mister was watching over, or he just came at that moment and saw my parents leaving. So he was, oh yeah, I will blow that place out, you know. So
Wow.
he went in the driveway, and when he saw that not no car were there anymore, he just ran, took his key, took the car, and chased us on
Wow.
the border of that river. So he just shifted my parents in a curve,
Wow.
and after he was pushing me, it was on my bumper. I couldn't see any lights of his car. I was stressed as hell, you know, and I was, I couldn't,
You had to
I
focus.
couldn't, I couldn't let my son see whatever was happening. So I was like frozen.
Mhm.
Nothing was happening, but I was seeing him in my mirror. I was seeing the top of his car, but nothing else, you know, and his rage, it just is that big rage and nothing else. And in my head, I knew it would push me in the river.
Wow.
That was obvious. That was clear. I had to save my kid. And I was running out of that mess. I was freaking. I had so much fear. I couldn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do at that moment, apart just put pushing the gas at the at the floor and go straight to my parents' place. So I don't know what happened, but suddenly I saw the cops. I
Wow.
saw the flashes. I saw flashes of lights of red and white and no. So I was, oh my gosh, I'm saved, I'm saved. So they bring it on the side, and I always felt guilty not to stop and talk to the cops and say to them, he's dangerous, he's violent, but I saved my life. I just ran for my life. So that at that moment when I saw they just put him aside, I ran. It was like 30 minutes drive to my parents' place, and I ran for my life.
Wow.
I was heading there. So when we arrived at my parents' place, we both get out. We my parents and I went out of our cars, and I was, thank you, you called the cops. And they said to me, we thought you called the
Wow.
cops. I was, no. So something saved
Somebody
me
found
that
you.
day, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. So yes. And after that goes on, and many um he came every morning at 5, just banging on the
Wow.
door with annoying thing, and it's not menace, but it's
Not
he was yelling some, I will burn your house, I will, no,
threatening you. Yeah, he was threatening you still.
threatening, yes, he was
Wow.
threatening
So
me, and that was very, very hard, but that was a part of my life, and that went on till 2014 when he abandoned his son. He just
left.
get out got out of his life with no phone number, with
Wow.
no link to reach him. So it's not, I'm not sad about it, that maybe the
At least
universe doing stuff.
right. So, I mean, so he wasn't charged or anything? The police didn't he just disappeared. Wow.
Yes, and after he had his license and all that stuff, so I don't know what they've done that day. I don't know, but that saved my life and my son's life, because
Something
we were
definitely was
heading.
done. Something
Yes,
definitely was done here.
we were heading in the river for sure,
Wow.
for sure, for sure.
So that must have been a pivotal point in your life to be able to
Yes,
probably go in a different direction of where you were going. Yeah.
yes, and I've gathered so much trauma in that period, in that time with him. So sometimes I have some trigger points, that
Mhm.
that just goes flashing.
Yeah.
So, but I'm managing it to release, transmute, and
Because you're
uh,
working.
after after that, I was over from men. I don't want men anymore in my life. It's over. I'm over it. I don't
Amen.
want them. And 1 month, 1 month and a half after, with tons of synchronicity, I've I've met my actual husband. That's our 15th year together,
Mm,
and yes, so it's um it's very special how it came. How and my soul just came back in the body because it felt love,
mm.
safety, and everything, but it was painful, and I went very sick from that day when I met him. It was in the spring of 2010, and in November, December, January, and February, I had mm, uh, mononucleosis.
Really?
Mono-
Mano's close. Yeah, I think I can't pronounce it as well, but I know what you mean.
I had this, I
Right.
had a sciatic, your nerve in
Sciatic.
your lower back.
Yeah.
And after I had appendicitis,
Um,
appendicitis. So
appendicitis. Yes.
well,
That's okay.
that was
I understand. I think the public, the
so
listeners will understand.
everything back to
Back to
back.
back. Yeah.
So
That's,
my body was talking very loudly.
yeah, it was stressed out. Yeah.
Yes, so much. And after that moment, I've already been tired and exhausted. I couldn't uh, take over it. So I'm still really tired, really exhausted, but I'm trying with herbalism to manage it and to take care of myself, because I've always took care of others and I'm not used to take care of myself, so I have to. It's weird.
Now I know, but now you have to, because if not, you can't take care of anybody else.
So that's very weird. I don't know how to do it, so I'm learning how to. So yes, what I can say, I talked about herbalism. So in 2013, I've got a doctor prescription to stop working, because I was too tired, exhausted, and adaptive trouble or adaptability troubles, that kind of stuff. But I couldn't take pills or that kind of stuff. That wasn't working with me.
Yeah.
So I reoriented my work. So I stopped the food processing and technology and all that kind of stuff. So I studied herbalism. And because I was at home trying to take care of myself, I made 1 year study in 6 months, because I had to take care of myself. I'm that type of person. So, yes. So while I was learning about herbalism, there's so much topic, and
Mhm.
also spirituality, and how to speak to the plants and herbs, and taking care of nature, and all that kind of stuff just entered in my life. But I had some visions or some experiences before, but at that moment it was not that galactic, but I saw some
It was earthly. It was earthly and academic.
it was darker. That was mostly ghosts or spirits or entities or that kind of stuff. But it began
Happening.
with,
That was
yes,
happening as you were doing the herbalism.
just before, between my separation and the time that I began the herbalism. So between 2010 and 2013, I
Mhm.
began to be more aware, because previously I was in a scientific, very closed mind. Oh, that's my glasses. Oh, my
Yep.
eyes as something, or always trying to explain what I was feeling or what I was viewing or seeing. So always that explaining, and
Mhm.
nothing else. And so in 2013, while studying the herbalism, I went through mostly spirituality, and learn to see and to be open minded, be open to view, to see, to understand what was happening with another type of mind, not the not the scientific mind, but with that
Great.
spiritual mind. Yes. So I've learned that mostly at that moment. And I learn, I continue my herbalism studies till uh I finished them like in 2018, I think.
Mhm.
Yes. So 2014 we moved, because my father-in-law was ill. He had the cancer. So
Mm.
my husband had to take the farm for, he had to be here working at the farm because his father couldn't anymore, and his mother was accompanying his father to all these appointments and chemo and all that stuff.
Mm.
So we came here, and we had our two sons. My husband has a son, I have one. And we tried to buy a house,
Mm.
which was full of problem. We couldn't go and move in that house, so we had to pay for experts, lawyers, and all kind of stuff. So during 4 years, we were in court process for that house. I've lost all my money, all
Wow.
the all what I all that I had on the side, all the money I kept for my elders' day, everything was gone. Everything. So we had to pay for this house, for the lawyers, the experts, and we had to live somewhere.
Wow.
So we lived 7 months in the sugar shack.
The what?
Yeah, the sugar shack. It's a
I remember this song from B-52. Sorry.
it's a building where you produce maple syrup. You know,
Okay. Okay.
it's it's in the woods, surrounded by maple trees. So we
Okay.
stayed there with our
Wow.
two children, 7 months, washing our clothes at my in-laws' place.
Really?
And that was we were all living in like 10 by 20 room.
Wow.
All the the
Like a
beds were there.
studio.
Yes, the beds were there at the second floor. So
Okay.
everyone, our bed, my son's bed, my husband's son was just near. So the intimity was very
Your personal space was very, yeah.
yes.
Like we're in the middle of the
So
forest.
in the middle of the forest, yes. So yes. So we couldn't stay there for the winter time because the field road that was going in the woods was not was filled with I was about to say with storm, but it's not storm. It's snow. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. The white stuff. Okay. No.
The white stuff. Yeah. So, so we couldn't take our cars or even pick up trucks. It was too snowy. So we couldn't stay there. So we had to find a house for our children and us.
Wow.
So we were lucky and we found a place very near the farm, but that house was full of entities and
Really?
yes,
Is
that
the one that
was
you're living in right now? No, it's
no,
not.
the house we just rent
Mhm.
in 2014, but in December. So it was a big mess. We had to, and on top of all, my son was abandoned by his father. His
Oh.
father went away and without news. And he had some diagnosis, ADHD and autism.
Mm.
So we had to manage the experts, the therapists, the medication, because I was not um, I didn't want him to be on medication, but at a certain point I couldn't fight against the system at that point. But now he's out of this. I'm trying to cleanse his body from that.
Mm.
But at that moment, I was at that point in my life, and And that was very hard for me, that to give him those medicine. And also because the different molecules were acting on him very badly sometimes. So he tried to kill me both 2 times.
Wow.
It was crazy, crazy. And you know the movie The Exorcist?
Yeah. Yeah.
It it seems like that every single day. At After dinner, we had to take a sheet, on a bed, and just cuddle him down so he can not hurt himself and others. And the head was going like that. He was spitting all around, and
Was the medication that was you were trying to see how, I mean, the doctors were trying to
at
prescribe.
a, at a point the molecules were not well adjusted, and were not the good one, and he was not able to um, manage and harmonize himself, just
Was it
bring all these emotion and all these impulsion, uh, just tame them down. So at a point he got more mature and able to do so, but he was like 10 years old at the
yeah, you
in 2015, 2016, that went really better. We were thinking about, he's going to be stronger and stronger, and we will not be able to manage him to avoid him from hurting others or himself. And we were just at that point he just became more mature and able to do so. So we were very, very happy, because it was at a point where we didn't know what to do.
mm,
So that was 2015 was a big year for me, with experts for my son, for the house that was not good, the lawyers for the house, and also for my husband's son, because he had problem with his ex-wife,
mm,
because we had moved and all that kind of stuff. So I had to manage the lawyers for both things. And I was continuing my studies in herbalism, and the house was full of entities. And that was just the worst year of my life. And I started to have panic attacks and have
that's
anxiety.
terrible. It was a horrible.
Yes, yes. And I was not able to, and I was working like 60 hours a week at least, because we were trying to um, have money, to earn money out of the farm. So I was processing maple syrup and many products and selling them in markets and that kind of stuff, with all everything happening.
I don't know how you did it because that's,
I don't know too, but I done it. So I'm really happy now to see what I've done back in the days, because that's fucking shit. Sorry,
no,
but
no.
that
Hey,
was that was
press
that
yourself.
was that, that was the worst nightmare you could
I
ever
know.
ever
I mean, just by you
experience.
saying that, and that's why I believe we're so resilient, is that when we look back to
Oh
what
yeah.
we went through, it's like, how did we made it through?
Yes,
No,
yes.
and not lose it to the point of, having the white coat and all that shit.
Wow. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh yes, because
It says a lot. It says a lot about you because you could have taken the route of prescription drugs, food, to ease the
yes,
pain, but
yes,
you did.
yes. And I it was the worst year of my life, but I'm not suicidal. I know that many would have ended their life there, because that's a thought that came to my mind. But
Gosh.
I'm not. I'm someone who loves life,
Wow.
who who i- who needs
Yes.
to be
Yes.
here to be. I love I love life
Yeah.
and enjoy it at the most I can. So
I want to,
at
I
that
want to point
moment,
out, I want to point something out, and I'm sorry to interrupt because I feel this is important. You said that there was a moment that you thought, but you didn't think of doing it. You just thought this is the moment where possibly people consider,
yeah,
yeah, because I had
yeah,
that
because
moment. I had that when you said that, I felt it because I had that moment too. I knew that I wasn't going to do it, but I said, oh my gosh, I think this is the place where
yes,
people just say, I can't do it. Right.
that's a pivotal point. That's a point because just beside the house we were renting, there was a like a barn or a big garage, and I
Hmm.
was watching the big pieces of woods where I could hang myself, but I wouldn't do it. I didn't do it, and I love life too much for this, and I know I have something to do here, so it was not my time, but that's a thought that came to my mind at that point.
Well, thank you for,
So,
because
that's
it's
okay. Thank
very,
you. Thank you to open the space for me to talk
very
about it
important
because
because we're not
no
the
one,
only ones. There's been a lot of people that have gone through life suffering alone, or they don't have an avenue, and all of a sudden this thought comes, and either you take it or you don't. And that
yeah,
moment, what is it that you're thinking at that moment that you say, I'm not going to do it?
yes,
That's pivotal because it's a,
yes, that
yeah,
I do it or I don't. So you have two choices. There's nothing else. So yes or no.
yeah,
So that moment I choose life.
yeah,
And that's why probably I'm a life warrior, that I love people, I love life, I love others, and I have to learn to love myself too. But
I hear you loud and clear. Yeah, that's
so that's the pivotal point, which I'm there's not that much people knowing about, you know. You're very privileged to know it today because I'm very shy and also conservative from my own dark
yeah.
problem, so
Well,
I
I feel honored, and I'm very glad that you had this space and feel comfortable to open up, because that's going to open up others to be able to
yes,
speak
and
out.
I think it's important to bring those experience, those information, so people will know who I am, because I'm not just the bubbly girl that, oh, I love life and I love you, I'm sending love and light. No, I'm not just that unicorn with
There's a story behind, but
there's a story who built the person I am today.
yeah,
So to continue on where I was
yeah,
in 2015, the worst year, and after 2016, we moved to a house we bought near here where I am now, and that's where I worked. I worked a lot, inner work, shadow work, a lot of spirituality. I wrote a lot. I was working a lot on myself, changing diet and taking care a little bit of myself for once in my life, which didn't reduce the tiredness and the exhausting, but at least
part of the
I,
thing.
yes. And I worked for my husband at his farm. I was having my own herbalism practice, so I was doing that also. And while I was working in the in the woods with my husband, I had my a first encounter in the woods with something that I don't know what it is. It was hidden in the ground, and the ground was like a little opened, so it like a trap.
Yeah,
was just open. It was black, and I saw two brilliant red eyes. So I was, I have to go that way. So I saw this and I will go. So that closed and I walked over, you know.
Really?
After I felt so tired, so tired, so
Mhm.
tired. I had to go back to the sugar shack to sit down and just take a breath because I was tired. I don't know if I have missing time. I don't know if I went somewhere. I would have
And
to,
dimension in the forest, probably. A different reality in the forest, probably. Who knows?
maybe, I don't know. I know there were like underground tunnel going from the woods to the house I was living in.
Mm.
I saw it in a vision, and there were some problems in my chicken co-op, in the coop.
And
It's
the
like
chicken,
chicken coop, chicken
yeah,
co-op.
you got it.
So I had some troubles with my animals there. And so I went in the vision and meditation to see what was happening, and all kind of stuffs were going on. So
Mm.
I closed the tunnel, and I saw a big black worm, like in the Men in Black, in the
Movie?
in the underground, the big worm, but it was a big black worm under the ground. So I managed to put him in like a golden box and tied him down to the earth and anchor him and bring some light. And so I was cleansing the lands and the buildings and all that kind of stuff. But it was all intuitively made because I had no training about it, but it was just intuitively made. So that was the first time I was really doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I started, like I said, cleansing lands and houses and
Mm.
that type of stuff. And I went also to to build my own shamanic drum,
Oh, wow.
so to have one for my cleansing and also for my shamanic journey. So it was in 2016 or 2017. I made it all. So we had some circular wooden thing we had to choose, and after we had to choose the skin to put on the drum, and after we were choosing the motifs we were putting on to decorate the skin. So it
Mhm.
was put in a brew of nuts. It was a very natural
Process.
dye.
Mhm.
Yes. So and after I I don't know how to say this. It's not weaving. It's uh yes,
Sewing? It's,
sewing at
yeah.
the back. So it was not the traditional way. I choose, and I was guided that day
Mhm.
to sew it in the flower of life motif. So it was we had the choice to go on the traditional on or on the flower of life motif. So I choose the flower of life motif to sew the back to tie the skin, you know.
Mhm.
So it's very beautiful and very
Personal.
handmade by myself. It's very personal, yeah. So it's very beautiful. So we're going in 2020 where we have plenty of time to do our inner works, and to do some
No pun
research
intended, yes.
and to
And
read and
mhm.
to, yes, to discover more people, more information. So I came to Elena Danan, Dr. Sala, GP, GC Moyen, more in the 2021 year,
Right. Yeah,
but that was a big year.
absolutely. Yeah.
And after that, everything just light up, and the memories and the vision came with all these information that they are bringing. They are just memory activator or triggers, or it's magnificent. It's just awesome. So in 2023, in the spring, I had my first shamanic journey. I went with the workshop of Elena Denan on her website. And after, I went to Mélanie Charret, the GC Moyen husband, wife. Sorry. And I went for an hypnosis. So I went 2 times. I got some information, but my ego and my mental mind was always fighting against the information. So that's correct, because everything falls in place at the right time. So probably I was just curious and eager to have some things.
process.
I like to be quick on things, so go, hurry up.
Take a deep breath. Deep breath.
So in July of 2023, I had the first encounter in my bedroom with an emerger.
Wow.
And it seems that he tuned something or activate something or just adjust myself. I don't know very much what happened there, but I already said all this with Abigail in the interview I made with her, and also in French on my YouTube channel. So I will not extend too much on all my memories, because yes, you could put the link with the grounded parties and my own YouTube channel. So that's almost the person I am. So now I have my herbalism practice. I have my own farm since 2020, which is a transition farm, because I started this to be self-sufficient for my family and just sell the overstock, but now that hurts me too much on my body, but also my heart and my soul, because I'm not eating meat anymore. I love my animals. They are my babies. So who is eating and slaughtering their babies, So I can't make it. So I'm in that process. It's a slow transition, because it's a big company, and everything is going slow, and the financial system is very difficult for everyone. So other farmer could not afford to buy my cows or that kind of stuff. So it's very difficult, So I will manage it like I managed all my stuff previously. So I'm confident in all this. So, and I also work for my husband's family farm. And what else? Oh yes, I am part of the farmers union in my region. My not province, but in my region. So I'm an administrator for the women's farmer.
Wow.
So yes. And what else do? I do plenty of stuff.
Yes, you do. You're pretty active in the galactic community groups. So
also, yes, and yes, and I've homeschooled my son for his 2 last year of high school. So 2022 and 2023, or it began. Yes, that's almost it for the last 2 years, and now he's in professional school, and he's very good. He's an agriculture mechanic.
Wow, look at that.
Yes, and he has already a job for when he will be finished in June. He has yes, the place where he worked this summer asked him to stay with them, because he was very appreciated by the team, and he was doing a very good job. So I'm so happy for his future. He's beautiful.
Awesome. Look at that. Look at all that turned around. Now tell me, darling, how do you see with looking back and, and coming to this point in life with everything that's happened after 2020, where do you see things going from here on, from your
Oh gosh, I went through all kind of stuff. Now I've learned so much things, and I know that we will learn a lot more in the time ahead. But I think that we had all these experience, all these bad things to learn, to be strong and to become who we are supposed to be, because we will be in front to show the way for others. We went through all that shit, so we will bring others by the hand. I've managed to do this, so you can too. So come on with me and we go forward. You can go ahead.
Absolutely.
So
That's
yes, and I think that the a beautiful future is ahead, and we will be all together celebrating, but really hard. That type of celebration that you never had in your life.
kidding.
I think
I'm just
that
kidding.
will that will be ahead.
A big
I don't
hangover.
drink alcohol anymore, but
We'll
we're
have a
we're
big
done.
no, I feel you. I mean, thank you so much for bringing your insights of intimate, times of your life, which is where we actually change and and help others eventually that have been going through it as well. We can as well try to help. So
Yeah.
I think your point on to that, it's like, you know what, I went through it, come, let's just forget about it and come and join us and let's get this done and
Yeah.
let's move forward.
And that's why I'm in that process right now again, because like I said, my farm is a transition, and
Mhm.
I'm in a big transition because I don't know if I will move or stay here, or I'm my intuition yells to me
Right.
to move away.
Sorry, she's I've been trying to go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I like kitties, so sorry. Just so I'm transitioning on my job, work, uh, point of view. I'm transitioning in where I'm living,
Mhm.
and I know my husband loves me, but there's also something happening on that side, and with the galactic twin flames and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
everything is like melting, all blending all together. So I'm, like I explained you out of camera, I, I'm like in a void, actually. I don't really know where will I go or what would happen. So I'm trying to stay calm and meditate and find myself, take
mhm.
care of myself, and the answers will come by my inner voice and my inner knowing. So that's where I am today.
That's where we're at. Absolutely. And it'll come together, I guess, because right
Yes.
now it's just, it's like floating. Everything is kind of floating, and you're trying to observe, and at the same time, you haven't made a decision yet, but you're trying to
Yes.
understand, and I think that's happening a lot. But at
Mhm.
least you're observing and you will eventually put it all
I'm
together.
not drowning. I'm not drowning, and I've managed all that stuff back in the day. So now I'm strong, and I know that I will manage it all over again. So no trouble.
Well, dear, is there anything you would like to close out the interview with our listeners?
I would just like to say to everyone that loving oneself and
Mhm.
listening to our own frequency is the key. So go within,
Mhm.
do the shadow work, the inner work, and everything will come in place. So even though you have one knee on the ground, you know,
Mhm.
you will not stay there. Someday you will rise up and strong.
Wonderful. That was powerful words, my dear friend and sister. Thank you for joining me and for those beautiful words. And we'll
Thank you
continue
very
our
much.
journey and hopefully we'll talk again. And
Yes.
maybe this one will be part of the interview because she's been always I've been trying to get her to not keep me distracted, but you know how it is with animals, but they're
Yes. Land baby.
they are. Well, sweetie, thank you so much. And I appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.